Truth Unveiled here, keeping you updated with the world around you. And when I stumbled across this, I really wanted to report it to you all because you all need to see what's going on in the world around you. Now, there has not been a lot of coverage on this. I wonder why. But today I'm going to be talking about the situation that's going on in Guam and why it is so important, as well as the power outages that have been going on worldwide and the massive flooding, because too much is going on and it's a quiet but deadly crisis that's sweeping the entire world. So I'm here at Pacific Daily News, and it says Guam, or the island dry spell, could cause water taps to run dry, and we know who's really causing it. But it says Guam's rainfall has been below normal the past several weeks, and the dry spell could continue in the next several months. So water conservation is encouraged. I also did a report on Venezuela and how they're running out of water too, according to the National Weather Service's April 14th drought update. This month through April 12th, record rainfall at the A.B. Wonpat International Airport, Guam, has been less than half of an inch, which is a third of what is normal this time of year, according to Weather Service data. And what you're going to see later on is that Houston, Texas just got massive record rainfalls. What is going on? But it goes on to say, recorded rainfall for Guam this month is about 1/4 of the 1.6 inches of rain recorded at the airport monitoring area last month, according to the data. El Nino caused the dry spell, according to the Pacific El Nino Southern Oscillation Applications Climate Center, because that's what they want us to believe. But let's keep going. The lack of rainfall in Guam is part of a lingering drought across the Micronesia region, according to the Weather Service. And we're going to be talking about this region and why it's so important and what it could do with you if you're in America and other places worldwide, and how these types of things we're starting to see increase more and more. And like I said, the question you should be wondering is why. But we're back here at Pacific Daily News from another report where it talks about the severe drought that hit the region of Guam and Micronesia altogether, which is the islands in the Polynesia area. And it goes on to say, extreme drought across U.S. affiliated nations, notice how they're U.S. affiliated, in the Micronesia region has led to water rationing, emergency shipment of bottled water, and health concerns, a federal report states. Oh, emergency shipment of bottled water reminds you of something? Flint, Michigan, Hurricane Katrina. Here we go all over again, and we know who's really behind it. But it goes on to say, public health concerns about islanders drinking dirty water have been raised because wells on some of the remote islands are drying up, according to the U.S. National Weather Service's recent drought situation report. Ecotourism jobs and destinations, including so-called globally known Jellyfish Lake and Rock Islands in Palau, may be at risk if the drought persists, according to people familiar with the issue. Diminishing surface freshwater in the Jellyfish Lake is an example of the impact of Palau's ongoing drought, which is the most severe in the almost 80 years of the island's nation's recorded history. So it's really bad now, said Mark Lander, a meteorologist with the Pacific El Nino Southern Oscillation Applications Climate Center, back last week on Wednesday. Lander also mentioned the Jellyfish Lake problem at a regional conference that was held in Guam, and they say El Nino caused it because that's what they want us to believe. And Guam and Northern Marianas are also experiencing below normal rainfall levels as well, and it's getting worse, and it's also spreading to Palau and the federated states of Micronesia, should I say. And of course, the government have just started declaring national disasters in these areas. Now, actually, somebody from Guam sent me this information, and when they sent me this stuff, I immediately wanted to report it to you all, because you all need to see what's going on in the world around you and how, it may be okay in your neck of the woods, but I'm telling you, they're getting ready for bigger and better things. What do I mean when I say they? I mean they as in your government, they as in your elite. Remember, what do they have to do first? They have to test it all out. But this article goes on to say that what have they done? They have brought government officials in and declared states of disaster emergency in Marshall Islands, Palau, and the FSM, or Micronesia in this area. I wonder why that is. And here's some more. It goes on about the drought situation reports in these different places in Palau and the different states in this area, as well as the Marshall Islands as well. So we see all this stuff going on, not to mention there have been droughts and it has been heat waves reported in India as well. So we see So much is going on. And the question is, why all of this suddenly? Why at a time like this? And why is this all coinciding with what's so-called El Nino and the so-called Ring of Fire? What exactly are they getting ready for? Now, this is a report from the U.S. National Service, and like I said, I'm not going to go over all of it, but I just want to show you, and you can come look at it yourself if you would like to, but it just basically talks about the extreme drought that persists all across Micronesia. And like I said in some of my other videos, we know that droughts are staged and planned ahead of time, and we also know that our government and the elite are highly testing this stuff so that when they're ready, they're going to bring it to America and other places, but they have to test it in strategic locations before they can do that. But I just wanted to share this report with you because I want you to see that there's just too much going on worldwide to ignore. We saw that yesterday actually with the different earthquakes in Ecuador, the earthquakes in Vanuatu, the earthquakes all in Japan as well, with the volcano going off in Mount Aso. We see all these things going on, and we see it's all happening in very strategic locations. This should be ringing some alarm bells, especially for those who are awoke, because remember, nothing ever happens for a reason. Nothing is ever just a mere coincidence. But you can't forget the threat of terror, because we're back at Pacific Daily News and it says authorities monitoring latest North Korean missile threat, because there's always a threat. Oh my gosh, watch out for North Korea. Everybody fear for your life. Everybody run. Everybody run. It's the same agenda over and over and over. But this article goes on to talk about how Guam Homeland Security and the Office of Civil Defense announced the development in a statement back last week about how they were preparing and coordinating for what, oh my gosh, watch out, North Korea could have a missile, North Korea could have a bomb. Whether they do or don't, I tend to believe they don't, because they try to use fear and scare tactics any way they can. But whether they do or don't, what exactly are they getting ready for, and why at such a time as this? And we know that Guam Homeland Security has something to do with this as well. So we know exactly what they're getting ready for. And like I said, it's only getting worse from here. But if you thought that was it, well, think again. Now, I also want to go over with you some of the power outages that have been going on this week, and we've been seeing a lot of power outages that have been occurring worldwide this past weekend. And for here on Pacific Daily News again, we see Guam has been experiencing a ton of power outages, and it's been reported that there have been a ton of problems. And we see the tentative schedule for the power outages in Friday, Saturday, Sunday in areas and portions of Guam throughout the area. Now, the question, like I said, is why all the power outages? What is going on? What are they getting ready for? Like I said, we're seeing this stuff on unprecedented levels. The fact that we're seeing all this stuff going on, earthquakes in not one, not two, not three, but four different nations within the course of 4 days within magnitudes of 6.0 and higher, that should be ringing some alarm bells. Not only that, but volcanic eruptions. I think it was reported just this past week, if not month alone, there were well over 30 earthquake eruptions and volcanic eruptions. What exactly is going on? And not to mention the different power outages that have been going on nationwide in 3 different nations. And it's interesting because I just reported a few months ago how there were staged power outages in not only Syria and Crimea, but also in Venezuela and now Guam too. Oh, but it's not just those 4 nations. You're about to see it's way more nations than that as well. So throughout the hour, they scheduled different power outages in different areas, and you're going to see that Guam is not the only place. Like I said, it's not just Guam that's experiencing this. Honestly, folks, this is a worldwide problem. And what's even worse is that they're not reporting it as a worldwide problem. They're reporting it in certain places where they want to report it. Because I am well aware, yes, I know that power outages happen all the time. Yes, I know that power outages occur when things happen. But the fact that it's happening at an unprecedented levels and it's affecting the entire nations, well, this is a real red flag. And like I said, we're seeing it at unprecedented levels, and we're seeing an uptick and an increase of it. I'd understand, okay, we see a power outage here and that's fine. Okay, we see a power outage there and that's fine. But like I said, now it's getting to the point where we're seeing power outages in places where millions of people are being affected. Not just 100 here, not just 1,000 there. We're talking millions. And it says from All Africa that Nigeria, worsened power outage across Nigeria may continue until May. It says the damaged Forcados export plant, which is the main cause of the worsened power outage being experienced by Nigerians will not be completely repaired till May, the office of the vice president has indicated. It says the plant was sabotaged by militants suspected to be sympathetic to the fugitive ex-Niger Delta militant. So then the vice president goes on to say that they visited the plant and they said the damage done to the affects their oil earnings, but also as important as the power aspect. It's a major source of gas, so the gas was affected as well. And then it goes on to talk about the press release statement as well. So not only was the power outage affected, but it was also the oil supply and even the gas as well. So like I said, the question is why right now, and of course they blame it on militants when we know better than that. And I'm just going to leave it there. But I'm going to leave these links below because you're going to see it's not just Venezuela, it's not just Syria, it's not just Crimea, it's not just Guam, it's not just Nigeria in the past couple months where there have been nationwide power outages. It's other places too. Remember, what are they getting ready for? What are they preparing for? And what do they know that we don't know? Because like I said, we're seeing an uptick in everything, in earthquakes, hurricanes, flooding, power outages, food shortages, water shortages. It's not looking good, folks. But this is from the Gleaner, which is talking about Jamaica and the power outages that were in Jamaica as well this past week. And it goes on to say that the Jamaica Public Service, or the JPS, is reporting that Sunday's power blackout was fairly widespread. Fairly widespread. What exactly are they talking about? It says the JPS issued a statement almost an hour after reports began to emerge about the outage. The problem seems to be fairly widespread as customers in several parishes have been affected, the JPS said in a statement released via its Twitter account. It added, "We are not able at this point to say what caused the problem or how soon we'll have everybody back on, but power has already been restored to some areas." And the reports came from these cities. And what did they say? The Energy Minister, Dr. Andrew Wheatley, said he has been in contact with the Kelly Tomlin, President and Chief Executive of JPS. Like I said, they hardly report any of this stuff. I wonder why that is. And like I said, I'm aware this stuff goes on all the time, but we're seeing it on an uptick level. We're seeing it increasing more and more. And it's very important that we stay wide awake to what's going on and stay awake to the devices of the crafty and what the elite are up to so that we can better prepare ourselves and get prepared not only physically but also spiritually. Now there's one more place I would like to take you to, and that's here at Mashable, and it talks about historic Houston floods 16 inches of rain in under 12 hours, and it's not over. So we see record rainfall in America as well. Like I said, this comes after a few days after we've seen all these earthquakes in the so-called Ring of Fire, and I just did a video covering that, the volcanic eruption as well, states of emergency being declared not only in Ecuador, but as well as in Guam. We see so many things going on right now. There's just so many warning signs around us that we cannot ignore. And if anybody's telling you, oh, everything's okay, nothing's wrong here, I suggest you really seriously rethink everything. But it says a deluge of colossal proportions struck the Houston and Galveston, Texas areas on Sunday night and Monday, with nearly 2 feet of rain falling in some spots. And that's, of course, record rain. And what has it led to? Widespread severe flooding. What? The rare issuance of a flash flood emergency warning from the National Weather Service, and what they had to call the rainfall and associated flooding unprecedented for the city. And so what Judge Emmett had to sign a disaster declaration for one of the counties there that would need resources and help. Could this be like one of the ways how they're going to call in FEMA in case this stuff started happening in America? Possibly. You bet it will. So please, please, please be aware. Please be awoke, because like I said, the rain hasn't even stopped. It's only going to get worse from here in Houston, but hopefully it will stop soon. Please seek Yahuwah and his true son Yahusha, because as you can see, it's only getting worse from here. Time is running out, and all this stuff they're going to start staging and bringing to America. That is why I'm doing my best to keep you updated with the world around you. This is Truth Unveiled here saying Shalom.